Hi, and welcome to Healy Fit with your instructor, Jen. I'm so excited to bring you this class today, our intro to Pilates. So, this is going to give you a great workout focusing on your core, both your outer abdominals, your inner abdominals, backs of upper inner thighs, glutes, and lower back. So, grab a mat and let's begin. Start down onto your back. So as you ease on down to your mat, we're going to place one hand to lower ribs and then one hand to the upper pelvis. As you breathe in, what you're going to do is kind of lift the top hand up away from the bottom hand and then pull the hands back in together. So you want to feel a soft to small rise into the belly and then a larger rise into the chest. This is your Pilates breath. Now, every time you exhale, you are going to draw the knees kind of closer to the midline. Every time you inhale, that's when you will do the extension out or away from the midline of the body. So keep that in mind as we progress along our workout today. Now draw the heels in just a little bit closer and let's start to lift the hips up from the floor into a bridge. Hands resting down by your heels and then slowly imprint. Now I want you to think of your spine as a tennis bracelet. So think of those fine diamonds along the spine and you are lifting the hips up. Maybe this is where you check out the price tag. And then once you see the price tag, you lay that tennis bracelet down as slowly and carefully as you can. Go ahead, bring it back down, back down, back down. Okay, so peel from the tailbone, top of pelvis, lower back, mid back, and then slowly imprint back down. Just taking it up to the point where you feel the glutes and the hamstrings engage. You're driving through your heels, and then return to sender. Good, just a few more. Awesome. On your next one, hold it here and start to lift your upper body. Good. Awesome. Let it all the way back down. Good. Peel your shoulders up from the floor, eye gaze between the knees, and then slowly bring yourself back down. Now, if you need support for the head, go ahead, bring your hand right back behind the head. You can bring one or both. Push the head back into the hands, though, and make sure you're keeping your chin lifted up from your chest. So we're just alleviating any strain or pain into the back of the neck, but we're trying to make sure that we don't use the hand to kind of pull the head forward. Now, again, as you're drawing towards the midline, every exhale, you're pulling the belly button back towards the spine as you draw the rib cage towards the hips. Awesome. Both hands back down. Let's draw one knee in towards you at a time. So going from the upper body back into the lower half. So keep your upper body nice and stable and still. The hard part is when you bring the foot back down to the floor, you want to keep that core compression and lower back pull to the mat. If it helps, you can place one hand on the belly button, reminding it to stay in and down even as you release the foot back down to the floor. Go ahead, do that a few more times, working on core control as you lift one leg up at a time. This is a fantastic exercise to build core strength and stability and mindfulness of that abdominal region. All right, last one. And let's go from singles to doubles. Both hands back by the hips again. Peel your heels up off the floor. Draw your knees in towards you. Then release the toes down to the mat all the way down to the heels. So heels up, then toes. Toes down, then heels. Good. Again, paying special attention to as you release the feet down to the floor. During that inhale, you are still keeping that core connection and belly button braced back towards the spine. Fantastic. Starting to warm everything up here. Last one. Let's keep those knees up and let's draw the nose up towards the knees. So now we're combining the upper and the lower body. We've got a light pelvic tuck. Now we're drawing rib cage towards hips. Same thing as before. If you need that support for the back of the head, you are welcome to place your hands around the back of the head, one or both, just supporting the head, supporting the neck with each lift that you do. Good, nice and easy, being mindful of that abdominal region with each lift that you do, pulling the belly button in and down, and maybe trying to lift up just a little bit higher with each rep. Good, let's hold it here, bring the hands back behind the head. Again, chin stays lifted. Exhale, release. One foot down and the other foot down. All right, so now we're moving in reverse from lifting the foot off the floor to putting the foot down onto the mat. So feet up into that tabletop position. If you want to step it up a notch, you are welcome to even lift the head up from the floor. In fact, let's try just that. For the next few reps, drop the foot, head up from the mat, rib cage pulled towards hips, navel back towards spine. So you've got that core connection and brace as you drop one foot at a time down to your mat. And release. Awesome. Hands to the backs of the thighs. Lift both legs all the way up to the sky. And then slowly fold the legs back down. Now squeeze the hamstrings on the way down. And then extend along the backs of the knees, flexing the thighs as you lift the legs up. Good. Continue that fold and extension. Good. Squeeze the heels in. And then just check in with your abs. Make sure, again, they're staying connected in, down. Lower back press towards the mat. Let's do a few more of those leg lifts up to the sky. And then squeeze heels down towards hips. Legs up to the sky. And fold. Good. Continue on, lift. Hold those legs all the way up. We're going to drop one straight leg down at a time. Now again, we're allowing the upper body to stay relaxed down onto the floor. So we're taking this nice and gentle. Extend along the back of the leg. So this move is called your single leg stretch. So I want you to think of it as exactly that. Stretching from hip to heel, all the way up to toes. Stretching along the back of the knee. Feeling length all the way from the glutes out to the bottom of the feet. Now, if you want a little bit extra intensity, again, you can lift the upper body up just a little bit. So shoulders up from the mat, chin lifted from chest, head cradled with your hands behind the head. Still getting length and extension from the hip all the way out to the toes. Awesome. Last one. Fold the knees in, and let's extend the legs out and up. Good. So we're going to fold the knees in, extend the legs out at an angle, and then lift them back up to the sky. Good. Now you are welcome to start to increase your range of motion with each rep that you do, lowering the legs down just a little bit closer to the mat as you get more comfortable with the exercise. All right, this is kind of our intro into your double leg stretch with straight leg. We're adding that bent knee to take some of the pressure out of the extension. Now you can always bring your head down again, or you can keep it elevated, whatever feels right for you. All right, next move. Hands behind the hamstrings. We're going to walk up the backs of the legs. Good. Bring yourself up as high as you can. Lift, 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 lift. And if you struggled like me, maybe you want to walk your feet out a little bit more and then walk your hands back down all the way to the mat. All right, let's do that a few more times. Walk the hands up the backs of the thighs, squeeze, lift, and then slowly bring your hands down the backs of the thighs. Now, the further the feet are to the front and the wider the feet are, the more they are going to be able to anchor you. So feet about mat distance apart. And then just a soft bend into the knees as you walk your hands up the backs of the thighs and then back down to release back to your mat. So good. We've just got a few more. Continue to lift up and release. On this next one, let's just take a seated cat to cow. So once you're up and lifted from the mat, you're going to exhale, scoop the belly into your C curve, round along the shoulders, and then lift and extend along the upper body. Good. Exhale, release. Inhale, extend. Good. Continue just a few more. And now let's add some rotation to this. So on the next one, you're going to take your right hand behind and then bring it back. Now let's take the left hand behind and then bring it back. So we're getting a rotation across the body into those obliques, working into those outer abdominals that kind of cross the inner and outer edges of the body. Good. Continue to twist and rotate. Feel that stretch across the body as you reach. You've got a light backward lean that's going to help get an even more core engagement across that oblique line. We're trying to bring the elbow back to kind of middle spine, middle of the mat, going as far as you can to each side. Awesome. Let's extend the legs all the way to the outer edges of the mat. Let's bring the hands up to the shoulders and do a few shoulder rolls here. Good. Now you can have a soft bend into the knees, or you can unfold your knees down to the mat, whatever feels good for you from this seated position. Shoulder rolls in the other direction. Shake it out a little bit. And let's take one hand back, other hand forward. So right hand squeezes in and reaches across. This is your saw. We're going to stay on this right side. Arm opens up. Exhale, we twist and then come across. Good. Inhale, lift and extend. Exhale, twist and slice through the pinky toe. Now you might be slicing through your thigh or your calf. You are going to your range of motion, whatever feels good for you. We're trying to stay anchored and down towards the mat. You're doing fantastic. We just have a few more on this side. Good. Reach and stretch. Inhale and lengthen. Awesome. Let's do one more to this side. Reach, 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 reach. And then pull back through center. Right hand comes behind you. Left hand out long. Let's go ahead and reach out towards the right toes, right calf, or right thigh. Open, 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 and extend. So you're going to feel the stretch across the back body as you reach to the toes, and then across the front body as you reach back. Try to keep the chest elevated and open as you sit up. Lengthen from your tailbone all the way up to the crown of your head. Staying long and elevated as you bring it up. And then reaching, feeling that stretch across the back and shoulder. And then down through the hip to the heel. Good, about halfway there. Continue on. So good. All right, after this last one, we are going to bring ourselves onto our sides. So go ahead, roll over onto the side, moving into a couple side leg moves. Bottom hand is going to cradle the head. Top hand in front of your abs to remind you to brace them. Feet turned out. Top leg is kind of lifted about hip bone line, and then you're going to sweep the leg to the front and to the back. Every time, just as before, you're going to try to lift the leg just a little bit closer to the front and then pull the leg just a little bit further to the back. As you see different arm positions, you can rest your head all the way onto your shoulder or use your hand to cradle the head. Now try to keep balance and stability. Imagine from hip to crown, that is your concrete foundation. So you're trying to stay stable without rocking forward and back. Can you sweep the leg kind of independently of the trunk? Now from here, still turning the toes outward, we're going to place the hand behind the thigh, pull the toes in, and then squeeze, 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 heel towards heel. Go ahead, leg lift up towards the sky. And then use that inner thigh, that adductor, to squeeze the heels back in and down together. Go ahead, lift it and elevate it from crown to tailbone, cemented in position. Leg lifts up and down. Use the inner thigh to draw the legs back in and down together. All right, next move, we're going to do little heel clicks. A few more in this direction. Got little circles, bring it around the other way. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. Let's take the top leg, cross it over top of the bottom one, and easier option, you're going to bring the knee kind of right in front of the hip, lifting that lower leg using the adductor now, so inner thigh muscle. Hand still in front of the abs to remind you to brace your core, and then that bottom hand cradling the head or head resting on the shoulder. Just a few more. Lift, squeeze, and release. Lift, squeeze, and release. And rest. Awesome. Let's roll, roll, roll over to the other side. We're going to replicate that same move. So starting with your front back kicks, bottom hand cradling the head, top hand in front of the abs, heel to heel together like steel, light turn out of toes, lift the top leg up, and then kick, kick to the front, squeeze and pull towards the back. Trying to keep the same distance from the floor as you sweep the leg forward and back. Good. Again, maybe changing the range of motion, maybe taking it just a little bit further each time. And now heel back to heel. Let's elevate the top leg and then squeeze back down. Now I'm using the hand here to remind me to use the inner thigh muscle. And once I have that mind to muscle connection, I can go lift and then know to squeeze along that inner thigh on the way down, knowing exactly how and where I need to feel that muscle engagement. Go ahead, continue to lift up and then squeeze back down. Those leg lifts great for outer and inner thigh muscle, great for stretching along the hamstrings and glutes, great for getting length all the way from toes down to heel. Now let's go back into those heel circles, sweeping the leg around, down, in, and together. And the other direction. 3 and 2 and done. Taking the top leg, crossing it over top of the bottom one, drop the knee down for a little bit less intensity, and let's take that bottom leg up and down. It's also a great way to stretch out that outer thigh after those leg lifts. Just a few more inner thigh lifts. Almost there. 2 more. Last one. And rest. All right, let's roll it over onto our bellies next. Elbows underneath of your shoulders. Make a fist with each hand. Press the fists into one another. Lift and elevate the trunk. Now, we'll try to keep the neck long the whole time, and we want to keep our shoulders pushed down towards the floor. We're going to drag one heel in at a time, feet about mat distance apart, and we're utilizing our hamstrings here. So as you pull your heel towards your glute, I want you to imagine that your ankle has a pulley with 100 pounds wrapped around it, so you are pulling that weight in towards the glute, feeling the strength in the back of the thigh. Continue to pull in and release, draw in and let it go. Good. Last one on each side. And let's go ahead, release, coming on down, forehead resting. Now let's wave the hips side to side just to release any of that low back tightness or tension. Coming back up, you're going to pull the elbows underneath the shoulders again. Make a fist with your hands, press it in together, lift and elongate through the neck, and let's drag both heels in and then extend both legs out. Good. Fold and release. Now here again, we're trying to keep the torso cemented. So belly button pulled in towards the spine, lifted up from the mat. Shoulders pulled down away from the ears, and length along the neck. So if you have a mirror anywhere near you, you want to kind of double check, make sure your shoulders are down and you are lifted, ears up away from shoulders. Just a few more and let it go. Awesome. Bring it back down, chin to hands, wave the hips side to side, release some of that low back tightness and tension. From here, extend the arms out to the front, and we're going to lift oppositionally. So one hand, one leg, let it go. All right, other side. Lift, lift, and release. Good. Now coordinate the movement. Lift both, and then let it go. Good. Rise up and release. Good. Using hamstring, glute, low back, and a little bit into that shoulder region as well. Now, even while we're here, I want you to imagine there is a marble beneath the belly button. You are drawing your belly button up and in away from that marble. So continue to lift and brace the core. That's going to help protect the low back as we go into these light backward bends. You're also going to want to light squeeze into the glutes. That will also help protect the low back from these movements. Next up, hands under the shoulders, push, press, take a seat, hips towards heels, coming into child's pose, knees out about mat distance apart to create some space so you can really get a deep stretch into that lower back. Next up, we'll slowly rise up into all fours, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Extend opposite arm with leg and just lift and lower. Good. So similar to what we were doing from the belly, now doing it from kneeling. Reach, 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 and release. Good. Just coming up to the point where you feel like maybe your belly is trying to drop, or you feel like your low back is really trying to overarch. That is where Right before that, we want to stop. So we want to keep the belly pulled in tight, and then once we feel that loss of connection, that is our stopping point. Same thing, other side. Lift and reach, fingertips to toes. Lift, lift, lift. Good, just to the point where we still have control, again, over the abs. We feel balanced both left and right sides of the body. So we're not carrying too much weight on the hand versus the knee. Not carrying too much weight on the knee versus the hand. Awesome. Last one. Draw it in. And let's go into a few rounds of cat to cow. So pushing into the floor, round up into the back, and then release back down. Good. Pushing into the floor. Now you see here my hands are a little bit in front of the shoulders to take pressure off of the wrists. Another good thing to try is to spread the fingertips out nice and wide from thumb to pinky. And then push into your fingertips. That's going to take pressure out of the wrist line whenever we do these all fours positions. Awesome. Now from here, we're going to add in some push-ups. So you're just going to bend into the elbows and then lift up. This is kind of your push-up prep. Bend into the elbows and then push to lift yourself back up. Bend into the elbows, push to lift. So the elbow points to the back of the room or back towards the knees. Really squeeze into the backs of the arms as you pop back up. Now you are welcome to stay with these or step with me, bringing the hands one step further forward, dropping the hips, keeping the elbows squeezed in and back, and then pushing back up. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So really stepping it up a notch with these. Again, elbow point to the back of the room, elbow pit to the front, keeping the elbows kind of glued to your sides or just inside the mat line. This is going to drive more heat into the back of the arm, into the triceps. Keep the belly braced. Last one. And relax. Walk it all the way back into kneeling or into seated, hips to heels. Let's stretch out those shoulders, hand across the body, circle through the wrist. Awesome. Take that same hand, grab below the elbow or push from below to stretch out along the triceps. Good. So from back of arm, elbow to armpit. Let's do the same thing, other side. Pull the arm across, a few wrist circles to take any pressure out of the wrist. And then take that same hand all the way down the middle of the spine, grabbing from below the elbow or pushing from below. Head up nice and tall, trying to bring the elbow towards the midline to get that stretch, elbow to armpit. Awesome. Open, open, open along the chest line. Release into a rotational stretch for those obliques. One hand to back, one hand to thigh. Twist. Inhale through center. Exhale, twist to the other side. Awesome. Bring it back in. Let's drop down to the hips. Take one leg forward, one leg back into your hurdler stretch. This is going to open up outer thigh to glute line. Hinge forward to your edge where you feel the stretch, but you don't feel discomfort or pain. One more breath. Inhale, lift up. Switch sides. Other leg to the front. Other one to the back. One hand to knee, one hand to heel. Hinge forward. Or stay elevated if you already feel that stretch from here. Awesome. One more deep breath in. And bring the bottoms of the feet together into your bound angle. Walk your feet in as close to the hips as you feel comfortable. Wrap your hands around your toes. Release your knees down towards the mat, opening up along the inner thighs. Awesome. Whatever seated position you prefer, go ahead, do it now. Open the arms all the way up to the sky. Stretch. Y'all, we made it. We made it through another Pilates class. Bring those arms around to the front. Stretch into the back, into the shoulders, all the way out to the wrists. Then pull the arms back beside you, elbow to elbow, shoulder to shoulder, spirit fingers. Pull it in and wrap yourself in a well-deserved hug. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Have a fabulous one. Until next time, bye-bye.